Welcome, Rodríguez. Rodríguez. Habla español, muchacho. How's it going, brother? Good to see you. Just getting things ready here. Let's get it all nice and finely tuned before we begin. Excellent. There we go. All right. So I'd like to give you a warm welcome to another RES Wave update. You know, we are based on XLM until we see some results. So I welcome you to this live stream, and I am going to basically do three things here: Q&A, wave analysis, and some additional talk about agendas and narratives behind the waves, right? Because once you learn the waves, you start to ask questions. Why do things happen the way they do? Why is human behavior happening? Why is it unfolding in the global consciousness the way that it does? We need to answer some questions. So I'm going to do my best to answer your questions if you have any. So welcome, APX Predator. Welcome back again. Good to see you. Claro que sí. Muy bien. Gani, good afternoon to you. Yeah, XRP is definitely not going up. I cannot see it going up anytime soon. How you doing, Chemistry? Are you part of the Chemistry ministry? How you doing, brother? How you doing, Corda? Good to see you, buddy. XLM is 98% correlated with BTC. Well, I can show you a chart where that's not true, but you know, it takes knowing the waves to understand why I say that. I don't just say that and I don't have evidence, because if I say that XLM is not correlated with BTC, it's just like saying the Dow Jones is correlated with the NASDAQ. Now, although that may be true to a certain extent, they're not quite the same, right? Did the Dow Jones crash as much as the NASDAQ during the coronavirus wave C? No. You know, there's these certain little things that you need to understand about the waves that like if you look at the if you remember my last live stream, I showed you the difference between the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones during the period of 2000 to 2009. And you could see quite clearly there was a big difference. All right. So let's not get too caught up in correlations, because each chart has its own pattern and there's a reason for that pattern, right? One has strength, one doesn't. One might have strength at one time and it might be weak at another, right? So keep an open mind, learn the waves, Don't always think that everything's going to be correlated to something, right? If you look at it from a long-term perspective, everything is going up. Everything. Why? Inflation, money printing, everything. But if you look at it at a smaller level, right, on a micro level, at the point where you can actually get into a market, you start to see things a little bit different, right? You don't just say things like they're correlated 98%, right? It's because not every chart pattern produces the same amount of result percentage wise and also in the greater scheme of things, right? So let's get that down first because there's a few things I want to explain along the way that will help with this sort of thinking, right? How you doing, Felix? Good to see you again. Ready to soak like a sponge. The elusive B wave, wave B. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty good, thank you. I'm pretty good chemistry. Chemistry. I'm doing good. Ali Alam, how is everything? Lockdown is still imposed? No. Lockdown has eased, but I still can't go to the gym. So apparently on Thursday we can. So then I can start to actually redistribute some energy that I have inside because that's necessary for everybody. Is this a bull trap for BTC? Yes. Straight up. Yes, it is. Once you learn RS wave, you understand that there's a sequence of waves. They repeat over and over again, no matter what chart you're looking at, right? And I've made this distinction before, and I will make it again today with what BTC is doing, and compare it to something like I'll do the whole Nasdaq Dow Jones, and then like XRP, XLM type comparisons, right? Just so you can see how the waves, even though they're all sort of trending generally in the same direction, they're not exactly the same kind of waves, right? You won't see them perform exactly the same. Otherwise, they would be the same thing, and we wouldn't need to look at different charts, right? That's the whole point. So I love XRP. I love XLM. Those are my two favorites, right? Um, Apart from that, not much else until I see what happens after the crash, because that will give me more clues as to what is going where. Now, it's not so much about what my favorite is based on what its use case utility is. It's more based on the price action. What can I see in terms of price action that's going to give me the best returns percentage wise, right? So over the long run, you may get great percentage returns on a range of cryptos, but it depends on what you paid for it in the beginning. And do you understand the pattern as to where it's going, right? So therefore, the cheaper you can buy it, the more you can buy, the more percentage gain you will get in the future. But also understanding the use case utility is important, and also having that historical data to back up your claims, right? So we use RES Wave to back up our claims, right? There's no point having a good use case utility if you don't have historical data that proves that this thing has potential using RES Wave, right? You need both. You need like three things, right? Good historical data, good use case utility, and a good price that we're going to buy at. So it's like a combo. You need a combination of things to make you profitable. But for now, we're just looking at XLM the most because I can see the biggest percentage gain to get you all cashed up. So then you're ready for what comes later, but you need to know when to get out. So that's what I'm guiding you on that journey as to when you're going to get out, and then put those profits into USDC most likely, not Tether. Tether's a bit flaky. Watch the George Gammon video on that, and you'll understand why Tether is not quite what you think it is. It's actually, there's a lot of funny trickery going on behind Tether. USDC is regulated, and DAI, Day, is kind of like in the middle, right? So yeah, I do like some other coins, but I have to do more investigation. I don't have time right now to do that because I'm just trying to be very thorough with making the profits based on XLM, right? So I already did a lot of research across a few different coins, but I see the most potential in XLM to get us all cashed up. After that occurs, then I'm going to be scrambling to make sure that whatever I invest in, I don't put all my eggs in one basket, right? But at the moment, the waves are telling me the XLM will outperform probably most of the coins, but that's only in an Arias wave safe kind of way, right? Not the kind of like a new coin that just came out and I have no historical data and I can't really tell you where it's going. We can only guess, right? We don't want to be guessing, right? Because we don't know when to get out. So the whole point of the XLM thing is we know when we're going to get out and that sort of thing. So more on that later. Well, that's right. Felix, in the future, all right, I'm gonna explain something to you. Just give me a sec. I'm just gonna turn this heater off. We're actually like in winter time here, so I'm like, you know, just need to adjust myself, have a bit of a drink. Okay, so when it comes to, let me share my screen. All right, let me share my screen. Give me one sec. All right. So you can see my usual XLM screen analysis right now, right? So I don't know if you caught my trading view idea where we can potentially be in still a wave 4, or depending on what happens from now, if we break that white line, we could still be in wave 4. But since we haven't done that yet, we're still sticking with the 1-2 idea. Okay, so if I zoom in, right, you can see how I've labeled these waves, right? It's actually an interesting pattern. So it's an A, B, C, D, E pattern, right? And it's not a very usual pattern, but it's like, if you think of it as an inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? That fails. So let's just redo that again because I used the wrong one. So let's say, just for example, like you go there, right? You go inverse head and shoulder, right? So you go, okay, so that's a head. Sorry, that's a shoulder, that's a head, and that's a shoulder, right? So you know what they say about inverse head and shoulders, or any head and shoulders pattern, if it fails, it's actually going in the opposite direction. Okay. So to me, this is the interpretation if we're not looking at the alternative count, which means that D wave ended down here. Sorry, D wave ended down here, right? So we're still sticking to the script, but I just wanted to give you an alternative idea in the trading view idea. You can check that out. I'm allowed to say stuff like Twitter here. Add me on Twitter because from now on, I'm going to be using multiple platforms: YouTube, Twitter, TradingView, right? Because I don't trust TradingView and their moderators. If you say something wrong, they blast you. They ban you for a whole day. And I just think that's silly because you can even post to YouTube from TradingView. So it's kind of like a little bit of hypocrisy. And it's basically trying to sell you their premium product, which I don't need at the moment, right? I spent a lot of money on their premium products only to do my back testing for a long time. But now I don't need it that much. I recommend the beginners use premium because you get more data. Okay, that's the only benefit you get, is you get more back data. So if you're back testing, right? If you're learning RS wave and you're back testing the theory itself, then you need to go back more. And you're going to get, like, if you go to a 4-hour chart, you'll go back, you have data that goes back further. So therefore, that's good for back testing, right? But for me, I don't need that. So to me, it's almost like a waste of money. But I'll probably go back to it again just to see if it's true that you've got to pay premium in order for the YouTube link to work. I want to find that out because they told me that you don't need premium to post to YouTube, but I think there's something else going on there. So I like to figure that out. Just why not? Just for the hell of it. So going back to the waves, it's kind of like, okay, so if this is wave one and this is an inverse head and shoulders and we reject this area of resistance, then okay, maybe we'll see wave three go down from here. Maybe we're about to see it happen during this live stream. We don't know, right? But the point is that you have to understand that there could be an alternative view. And I have outlined that in that previous trading view idea. You can check it out later. It's on my Twitter feed. So add me on Twitter at RES Wave Mentor on Twitter, because I'm the mentor, obviously. And I also have a program which is called the Mentor Learn program, because not only do you learn, I mentor you. So it's kind of like it's a mix of both, really. It just depends on how much. It just depends on, because from what I see, right, there's 3 types of people who join RS Wave. It's either for the sort of like connection with me they have directly. I will answer them. I will give them my top priority. Also, they want to be a part of the community, and also they want to feel stability in their choices, because in the past they may have made choices that were based on strategies that weren't really doing them any good, right? So I'm starting to see a pattern there, but it doesn't matter. you can join for whatever reason you want. Just make sure you join before the end of June, because it's 50% off, and that's not going to happen again. Okay, that this is basically just me trying to get you in before the bull run, right? And I have my suspicions that we're going to see something happen around that time. It could happen before, it could happen a little bit after, but I reward those who believe and trust first in the community, in the RES wave pattern methodology, and those who are in first, best dressed, get the best service for, you know, a cheaper price. So simple as that. So apart from that, we don't have much to say on this wave because we haven't seen this play out yet. Okay, so we have to go for a new low, regardless of anything, right? So at the moment, I've labeled this A, B, C, D, E. So this count could be correct. But the reason I put that other idea out there is because I just want to make sure that you guys understand that it doesn't matter what it is. It's not going to go up yet unless we make a new low. Even if this is not wave 4 complete yet, maybe wave 4 could end up here. We don't know. But so far, if we see this thing go down and not go above that white line, then most likely, yeah, this will be wave 3 and this will end soon. And then, yeah, we'll go back up. So, so what I'm going to do now is just quickly go through some of the commentary going on. Okay, so Ali Alam, for entry and exit, does RSI, does that have anything to do with entry and exit? No. No. Don't rely on the indicators that are built into the platform, because they are there to literally make you lose money, right? They can be used in conjunction with RS wave, yes. You can use them for certain things, like RSI is good for determining wave 3. But what's a wave 3? Because wave 3 is the strongest, right? So it's going to be the lowest point in RSI, right? Anything after that is going to give you an indication that that was the strongest point. And depending on which wave you're looking at, see, that goes back to the whole RES wave thing. You need to understand what wave 3 of what pattern are you looking at. So RSI is subjective in that way. It can be used in the right way, but you need to have RES wave knowledge, right? You can try use Elliott wave if you want, but the whole reason I made RES wave is because Elliott wave sucks and it's garbage, right? It's an outdated, childish view of the markets, right? Tether is a scam. Yeah, I can't wait to actually get back into XLM, because after that I won't be using it anymore. So true that. Yeah, Felix, the use case will come after the Great Reset, right? So if you go back to my website, as I always mention this, look at the bullish series and you'll start to understand the use case will come later, when basically everything collapses and then a new system will be put into place. And I believe that that will include the very best of these cryptos, which is why I really like XLM and XRP. It's gonna be either one or the other or both, right? I don't believe other coins will be as integrated into the system as XLM and XRP, there could be potential others, but by the time we make the profits, we can diversify. So there's no point worrying about that yet. At the moment, we just want to make the profits, and then we can diversify, right? If you like Cardano, for example, you can put a percentage into Cardano, right? If you like Litecoin, you can put a percentage. It doesn't matter what coin it is, right? The point is that once we get to where we're going, I'm going to ramp up my analysis across the board, right? But for now, we're just dealing exclusively with XLM, not only to promote the fact that RES Wave is a very accurate tool, and it can help you make money, right? It can also help you advise people on what moves are coming next, right? Based on a very simple system which repeats over and over again. It's just up to you to go back test it. Take the time. Do I personally use XLM network for transactions? Yes, I get paid in XLM. I charge people pay for my course in XLM, right? So I see how accurate it is. I see how reliable it is. I see how cheap it is, right? And I can see this being a massive benefit for businesses globally. So yes, I do use XLM, and that's why I tend to receive it mainly in XLM, except for sometimes we have to make exceptions for some people who are just using some not some exchanges that I don't really like that force you to send money in certain coins. I try to migrate people over to Binance because I believe Binance is the best, and they are by volume. Coinbase is, to me, it's like Yahoo, right? Binance is like the Google. Okay, so chemistry, the waves are going to happen. The waves are going to do what they're going to do. No tweet, nothing can change the collective consciousness, right? Because you have to understand that these waves are driven by every single participant in the market, not just one, not just whales, not just a few. It's actually driven by the collective consciousness, the group psychology, the hive mind that is human behavior. So a tweet ain't gonna do shit for the price. It might move it like a little bit, but it'll be in line with the waves, right? And I always go back to the example of when they pegged the Swiss franc to a dollar. I think it was like $1.30 or something. They pegged it for a certain amount of time, and you could see this pattern go sideways, and you could see it, right? And then it made a massive drop. That was actually a wave four, right? It was just so sideways. But if you actually inspect the waves on the euro, like the euro Swiss chart, you can literally see RES wave pattern in there, and you could have basically made a killing on that move, right? Which is why you should never assume that manipulation is a factor, because manipulation is simply human behavior, and everything in the waves is based on human behavior. So it's one and the same, right? It's not separate, right? How you doing, buddy? I can't read Arabic or Persian. I can't tell which one that is, but I know who you are. I remember you. So hi, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. I think it was like Muhammad from memory, or that was your surname. I can't remember. Micro S entered XLM, can't miss out because I'm waiting for it to drop. It may not. It may not drop. Okay, fair enough. Well, if you watch my videos, you'll understand that we have to make one more low. So it has to drop by law, by nature's law of the waves. It has to drop to make at least a 27-cent move, right? At least has to go below this red line, even if it just touches it and goes back up. It has to. Otherwise, it's not a five-way pattern. Okay. What if Apple says tomorrow they will use XLM? We won't be making a new low. I mean, seriously, is that a real question, or is that like a thought experiment? Because if that's a thought experiment, then um, well, we know this is going up anyway, and there might be a reason for why it does, but it might not happen. Even if Apple does say that, right? There might be an initial reaction to dump it, right? Because people sell the news a lot, right? But regardless of any of that, it still has to make a new low. This is waves. We're talking about waves. We're not talking about news. If you wanna go looking at waves based on every single article, and I mean, I think you're on the wrong channel. You need to actually understand the waves are going to produce the waves no matter what. And they have certain rules. These are nature's rules, right? Even the Apple stocks have a pattern that is based on nature's rules. They literally follow RES wave. I've made an idea on this before. I haven't updated it recently, and I told you it's because I'm focusing on XLM. But I will. Hi Hakeem, coming back down. Yeah, you're not using my method because you don't know my method, right? So you may have a method that's better than mine. So that's great. At least you know that it has to make a new low. That's good. Micro S, I've got more money to scale in. I'll buy more if it does. That's fine. You can scale in. Look, this is the thing, right? This is why it's important that we understand which wave is which, because we can scale in when it hits the low a little bit. When it breaks the end, sorry, the start of wave 5, which is this white line, that's another area that you could scale in some more. When it breaks all-time high, right? At 92 cents, you can scale in some more, right? Because we're going to 160 potentially. That's not guaranteed. We have to wait for the waves to unfold for me to confirm that's going to be the target, right? But because I'm going to be meticulously tracking it, we have to wait for wave E to complete. Wave E might come back down to like 80 cents or something. We don't know. We have to measure from that point the same length as wave A, which happened 2017. So let's not jump that far ahead right now. Let's keep it real for now. Okay. Hi, Johnny P. Welcome. Don't worry if you're late, you can rewatch. This is going up on YouTube. Is Bollinger Bands plus RSI a good combination? No. Sorry. No. I don't think anything is a good combination. Like I have tried every combination, and you know what it does? It confuses you. It doesn't give you the big picture. It sort of gives you very short term fuzz, fluff, right? You know when you pull the fluff out of the dryer, the lint. Oh, look, I've got some fluff. That's all it gives you, right? Indicators are rubbish. They are there as a guide to something else that you're using that's much better, right? Like a lot of people use volume. Yeah, volume's great, but volume usually happens um, right before the big move. But does volume tell you when you're going to get out? Does volume tell you how high it's going to go? You know, are you going to use volume and RSI? Like how many combinations of things are you going to try and use on your chart? You're gonna end up making like an NFT chart. You could probably sell that, you know, somewhere because it's going to look so fancy. But in reality, it doesn't help you make money. That's right, Felix, because it doesn't matter what one person does, whale, whatever. All this whale talk is bullshit, right? It's just it's just people trying to justify why something that they believe should go up forever has gone down. Oh, a whale came in. It was a whale. That's the biggest animal I can think of. What if it was a dinosaur? A dinosaur came in and ripped the market to shreds. I mean, really, are we really going to be going down that route? I mean, this is total crap, right? It's all about psychology. It's the collective. It's every single participant. It's the sum of all those fear and greed movements that we make, decisions that we make. They're all in the waves. That's what it is. It's just the sum total of all that, right? You know, when they call it a zero sum game, well, there's a buyer for every seller, right? Sometimes there's less buyers than sellers. Sometimes it's that there's less sellers than buyers. I mean, think about it. It's just it's time versus price, right? Because a chart can only go up and down and sideways. So it's price versus time, right? And it's all based on the collective psychology making decisions at certain times that causes certain fluctuations. And that's what RES wave captures. And it's been back tested across every single chart I can get my hands on, even a chart on bond yields that goes back to 1100 AD. The pattern is there, right? That's why I can predict to you that interest rates won't stay down forever. They are literally in a bottoming process. And I'm not saying that interest rates going up is a bad thing. That doesn't mean it's going to crash the market and send it to oblivion. No, the interest rates have gone up in the past and it hasn't crashed the market. Go back through history and have a look at when, like through the like 70s and that. Did higher interest rates crash the market? No, but it has implications, especially at different points in time. So you got to take every chart seriously and analyze it based on you know, look at the landscape. That's why I made the bullish series, right? The bullish series on reswave.com. Look at the bullish series page and you can see how every wave, it's like a machine, right? Right? We're going to see cause and effect in action over time, right? It's only up and down price versus time. That's all it is. Manipulation of BTC do have an influence Is that a question? Does manipulations of BTC have an influence on XLM? Says in vino veritas. So basically, there is no such thing as manipulation. Okay. Because that means that you're talking about human behavior. So are humans susceptible to manipulating things? Yes. Does the Fed manipulate the money supply? Yes. Do these patterns still unfold in the way that you can predict them using RES wave? Yes. So it doesn't matter. It's just if you don't understand the waves, you're going to say, "Oh, it's manipulation," if you don't like what you see. But if you like what you see, it's not manipulation. It's actually, yeah, this is great. So you can come up with a bunch of reasons why things are happening the way they are. Maybe they don't suit your agenda, whatever your agenda is. Maybe they don't fit with your narrative or what you think the narrative is, right? But you have to understand that this is part of a bigger picture, right? And if you zoom out big time, the patterns look completely different. We're on an upward trajectory, and it's mainly based on, the growth, the evolution of humans, and also inflation, the money printing, right? You expand the money supply. People think their house prices are going up, but in fact, it's actually the price of money that's going down. It's the value of the money that's going down. That's why you go to buy some petrol and it used to cost you 30 cents a gallon, and now you're paying way over that, right? And this is American terms. Like I live in Australia, like they used to pay here like 20 cents for a liter, right? And now it's $1.60. Stuff like that, like we used to pay $1 something for a kilo of lamb. Now it's $20 a kilo. It's inflation. There's a lot of mechanics behind why these things are happening. Like if you watch Milton Friedman's video on YouTube on money and inflation, he does a great job of explaining how it all works. Martin Armstrong, another good guy to watch. Gregory Mannarino makes me laugh because he tells the truth. This is a freak show, right? What's happening now is a complete freak show. But what we're doing is we're seeing RES Wave is able to identify the freak show in action, right? By using the waves. So we're just taking a measurement of the waves where we're identifying the pattern, and then we're acting accordingly. We're just buying when we're supposed to and selling when we're supposed to. And then we're trying to find a safe place to put our profits whilst it goes down, etc., etc., etc. This is just the beginning, right? This is part of an ongoing process that will never end. It'll never end, right? Because humans will always be humans. In Vino, yes. Actually, XRP, XLM, I believe they are part of what's coming. That's why I love them both. Right. So when you look at it like, okay, so look at Bitcoin, right? What's the problem with Bitcoin? It's like a T model Ford. Even worse, it's like a horse and cart, horse and carriage, right? Because the amount of energy expended, it's old fashioned, right? It's already old fashioned because there's already other technologies that perform way better with less energy spent. So you got to think about the agendas. What are the agendas at the moment? Oh, climate change is a big deal. Okay. So you got to wonder who's manipulating the market and why. Do some people want to be rock stars like Elon Musk? So are you telling me that Elon Musk bought Bitcoin knowing that it was actually a big waste of energy, and suddenly he decided, oh no, we have concerns when the guy builds electric cars because he's trying to save the planet because of fossil fuels. I mean, that's the biggest hypocrisy that I've ever heard of. I mean, the guy's a bloody, he's a puppet. He's a complete puppet. He sold his soul, right? I believe all these big players in corporations have sold their soul. They're being bloody manipulated, they're being controlled, and God knows what they have on these people to basically manipulate them and make them act in certain ways the way they do, right? Look at Michael Saylor. Look at how he promoted Bitcoin so badly over the last year for only it to be doing what it's about to do now. I mean, who's really calling the shots here, right? Let's be real. Are these people really doing what they believe, or are they just simply part of the sheep crowd? Lord, you are my shepherd, right? Who's their shepherd? Are they sheep, or are they just puppets, part of a show, part of a narrative, agenda? You know, you got to think about that stuff, you know? Don't ask me when it's going to happen, right? We haven't even seen C wave end. Let's wait and see until C wave ends. And I want to see the reaction we get after C wave ends. I bet you it's going to be huge. I don't think it's going to take that long, but I do not have a crystal ball. Just because I can read waves, it doesn't mean that I know, like I know what price patterns do, but I don't know what time the price pattern takes, right? So remember, we talked about this before. There's only price up and down and time. Okay. You're asking me about the time part. I can't tell you about the time part. I can only tell you about the price pattern, which is Arias wave, right? The patterns are created over time. I can only look back and see the pattern and use it to judge what's coming next because it's a sequence of patterns, right? So I can't tell you when. You have to have faith. If you don't have faith in what you do, then you might as well not be doing it, right? Because you're probably going to end up making a mistake. You're going to second guess yourself, right? You're gonna have one view one week, and then you're gonna change your view the next week, and then you'll turn to the news, and then you'll see, oh, corona outbreak, lockdown, and then it's just all over the place. Like when you learn Arias wave, you block out all the crap, and you just understand that when we see this pattern, okay, we buy. Simple, right? After that, we don't know how long it's going to take, but we know where it's going, right? So we just wait patiently. And patience is the hardest thing when it comes to trading because you just want to make money. You want to make money now. You see the market do this, do this, do this. As soon as you get in, it starts doing not much. All right. As soon as you sell, it goes up. As soon as you buy, it goes down. It's just like it's a conundrum. So Arias Wave basically teaches you patience, and that's part of my course. That's part of my program. It teaches you the patience that's required, as well as the knowledge of the waves, right? So, because I understood over time that yes, you can learn this, but then you can also second guess yourself because you're impatient and you don't get out and about, right? All you do is look at the bloody screen all day. You don't go to exercise. You don't go to the gym. You don't go for a walk. You just lock yourself in a room, try to figure it out. Well, the program helps you shortcut that process. You have my video updates. I try to keep them relatively short on TradingView, right? On the live stream, forget about it. There's no limit to my live streams. But if you want the shortcut update, go to TradingView, right? Go to my website, go to my TradingView profile. That's it. You get the 20-minute maximum, right? Here we get to talk, you get to ask questions, and I'll answer them for you, right? using what I know to the best of my ability. I'm not the best. There's probably someone better out there than me. You can learn RES wave. You can be better than me as well, right? I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm just saying that I'm here for for some reason. I'm here to serve this purpose. So I'm just trying to help. Well, that's right. Well, the what Johnny P says, the World Economic Forum, yeah, that's the Great Reset. That's the one I'm talking about that's coming soon. But we want to make profits before that and then take it off the table. Wait for the reset, big wave E down, and then we're going to pick coins, pick and choose. And over the next 5 years, 5, 10 years, you're going to be set up, right? You're going to be doing something that people wish they knew about, right? Because this is only just getting started. This is the beginning, right? Right. Think about like the internet came out in the 90s. Look what the internet is now, right? Compared to the 90s, right? If you think 2000, the 2009 to 2017 was the 90s, then what we're going in the future is going to be like astronomical. So yeah, there is a great reset in the making. They tell it to your face. They don't hide the fact. And you know why? There's a reason behind that, right? I don't know if you like David Wilcock, right? He's a pretty intuitive uh, speaker about certain truths that uh, certain information that has been channeled to humans, through other means, right? Like mediums and stuff. But he also does other work now that is not just that, right? He was like in Ancient Aliens and all that series, whatever. So, you know, everything that is happening, like I take pieces of information from everywhere and I make like this big collage in my mind of what could be potentially causing what I'm seeing that's going to happen in the waves, right? And then I sort of slowly piece together these things, right? And from what I can tell, there's going to be a great reset. A lot of people might see that as a negative thing, but it doesn't have to be a negative thing, right? Because the forces of good and evil, they tend to balance themselves out, and it's human psychology, right? So therefore, you can't go assuming that the Great Reset is going to be the end of the world or a communist party, a global communist world, and all that sort of stuff. Um, Conspiracy theorists can take it a little bit too far, but you've also got to take into consideration that there's good and evil, and none of them is. No one is stronger than, like, evil is not stronger than good, and good is not stronger than evil, right? There's this constant fluctuation between the two, right? So just because we're going to have a great reset, it doesn't mean that after that we're not going to have a massive bull run, right? And that's exactly what I'm predicting. I'm predicting that we're going to have a huge bull run, but before we get there, we have to end this bear market, which we are in, right? This time of terrible things. As I mentioned in my last video, right? 9/11 happened during a sea wave. Corona happened during a sea wave, right? The GFC was like the Great Reset that's coming, right? We haven't seen that yet. That's coming, right? But that's a 1-2-1-2 pattern. What happens after 1-2-1-2? You get massive three, the biggest growth. So we are literally on the cusp of the biggest bull run that will ever happen in our lifetime, right? So my goal is to try and prepare us by first making some profits and then waiting for that to happen and then taking advantage of that opportunity that will never happen again. in our lifetime. Okay. So I take this very seriously. That's why I don't go dicking around with all these different coins and all this crap. I just try to use my ability to zone in, to focus on what I see and what I believe to be the one that's going to help us get to the next level, right? Because this is like a Mario game. Life is like a game. If you win stage one, you get to stage two. If you have enough coins in stage three, you can go to stage four richer. I mean, it's just logic, right? Yeah, well, when it comes to BTC going down, right? Right. So what I'm saying with BTC going down, like, don't believe the fluff, all right? We all know that BTC is the king at the moment, right? Will it be the king in the future? That's an assumption. You're basing past performance, you're trying to use past performance to gauge future results. That's like the tortoise and the hare. Have you heard the story of the tortoise and the hare? Right? Okay. Now that's a pretty classic story, but don't think that because Bitcoin is huge right now that it's not going to be probably just one of the top 10 in the future, and it probably won't be first either, right? This is why patterns matter. Okay, timing matters, understanding matters, knowledge is power, right? The XLM BTC chart that I keep showing you proves the XLM is going to outperform Bitcoin. Okay. If you look at 2017, XLM, Bitcoin crashed, XLM kept going up. Okay. When XLM crashed, Bitcoin was started to go up, even though XLM was still crashing all the way to 2020 March, and Bitcoin had already started going up. So how the hell is that correlation to you? Like, you just don't know the pattern. When you learn the pattern, then you could talk to me about this correlation crap, because that's in your imagination. Like, you can't understand the waves, so therefore your brain tries to make sense of something that is chaotic by simply looking at something that is sort of moving in that direction, when really it's really not. Like, look closely, go buy, get the premium, buy trading view premium, get the program, go back, analyze, see that it's not the same thing. It's not. They're completely different charts, right? Are we in an upward trajectory? Yes, we are. But does that mean that you're going to buy this coin over the other? Well, it depends, because you could buy XRP now, right? And you're going to lose in the immediate future. But if you buy XLM at 27 cents, you'll make money in the immediate future. So what's going to give you that kind of information? If you're just thinking that it's all correlated, it's all together, right? You might as well just buy all the damn coins, right? That's like throwing darts at a wall, right? And picking which ones are going to be the coins. It's just like guessing, right? Stop it with the correlation talk, right? It doesn't work. Go back through history. History tells you it doesn't work. In Vino, you need to go back to the bullish series on my website. If you don't know what the bullish series is, it's a page on my website. We're in a bear market at the moment, right? You won't understand unless you learn the ways, unless you buy the program. You won't understand that we're in a bear market. Yes, you can go up in a bear market. It's called a bear market rally, right? Do you know what a wave three is? Do you know how sharp a wave three is? Man, that's sharper than you could ever imagine. That goes straight up, right? We're nowhere near that yet. We still need to see the rest of these patterns end first before we see a bull run. We're not in a bull run, right? The last bull run ended in 2017. Okay, right? Since 2017, in cryptos, we've been in a bear market, right? I think the Dow Jones ended in 2018, the bull run, but that's a technical thing. You need to know the waves to understand what I'm talking about. XLM is so stagnant right now because there's no more, it doesn't have any more, it doesn't have any weakness, but it has to complete the pattern, right? It has to complete the pattern and it's struggling to do so. It's struggling to have to make, it has to make a new low and it's struggling, right? That's why you should not buy this until it makes one new low, 27 cents, right? It could go a tiny bit lower. Who cares? The point is that it has to make it. I guarantee you, right? I put my reputation on the line. I'm telling you right now, it has to make a new low, right? I'm just bringing you the updates. I'm giving you different interpretations. Like if you saw my last trading view update, I'm just saying that potentially this was a wave that ended here, but we haven't seen a new low, so we don't buy. Okay, this is part of a bear market rally. This is a wave D. I'm not going to go into that now. Right, I've done it before. It's time for you to start learning it yourself. Right, you can go through all my past videos and spend a bunch of time looking at them, or you can go to Trading View. I go through them in shorter videos, so you can go. They're not that long. This is a long live stream because obviously I have some time to burn right now, and I love answering people's questions, so I'll just keep answering them. Johnny P, do I think the XLM and XRP are some kind related? Uh, just because Jed McCaleb was part of Ripple, well, he left on bad terms with them. Was that BS? I don't know. But I like both of them. So I don't care if it is a conspiracy or whatever. I like both of them. So I'm probably going to end up buying both of them just to hedge against, myself and potential, misconceptions or whatever. I'm just going to buy them both when the time is right. But at the moment, I'm only buying XLM because the pattern says so. But once the bear market ends for both of these, I'm going to buy them both probably as equally as each other, among potentially other coins. Yeah, but regardless of quantitative easing, right? The patterns still unfold the way they do, right? And especially in a bull market, I like to use the term every action has an equal and opposite reaction. For me, that's one of the most important um, quotes in my mind when I think about a bear market, because it's a sideways pattern. It's a correction, right? There's a balance of forces going on that's correcting, getting ready for the next move, right? So regardless of money printing, hockey stick money supply, there's a lack of money velocity and circulation of money, right? So just because like we have what is it, 50 billion, I think it is, or 100 billion, 50 billion, whatever billion coins in a particular coin, whatever it is. Um, it doesn't mean that all those coins are circulating. So there's no velocity in that money, right? A lot of those coins may be locked away in wallets that money has not even been moved around for a long time, right? So there's no velocity. So once the use case actually kicks in and people start using this stuff, that's when it's going to skyrocket. And that's when the end of the bear market will end. And that's when inflation will kick in. That's why I encourage you to watch Milton Friedman money inflation video, because it's like Weimar Germany when inflation hit, right? It's not that there wasn't money in the system. It's just that that money wasn't circulating. The velocity of money was very low, and at the moment it's at record lows. But once people start to feel like they can they're no longer fearful and they start to circulate that money, that's going to drive the prices of things up. Sort of like having low interest rates drives the prices of houses up, right? Except this time we're talking about across the board inflation with food, with commodities, with all the essentials, right? So you really need to learn about money velocity, inflation, and that's why I encourage you to watch that Milton Friedman video on money and inflation, because it gives you an insight. Also watch the Money series by Mike Maloney. That he's got a series that teaches you about money, and even in the Coinage Act, right? Even in the Coinage Act, there was still inflation, right? So inflation is just a natural thing. You see, I've done my research. Thank you, William. I appreciate you saying that. I love to answer every question that I can get my eyes on, right? Because I've done my research on a lot of different things, right? You have to, right? When you do what I do, you get so freaking curious that you just have to try and figure out why. Why is this happening? Am I going crazy? Am I just seeing patterns that are just patterns? Do they mean something? Like they mean, surely they're gonna mean something, right? So yeah, I spend just as much time on the waves. Actually, I don't even need to spend much time on the waves. So I've already created RS Wave, right? To me now, I spend more time learning about why. So, and I've done that since the beginning, since I started creating RS Wave. Like I was curious from the beginning, right? I lost my job in the GFC. That lit a fire under me. And it took me 5 years to get through the first stage of the 4 stages of competence, right? And that was tough, right? But then once you realize what you don't know, the rest of the 3 stages of competence actually everything starts to click into place, and you start to really pick up the pace with what you need to learn. And then once you start connecting the dots, you need to know why they connect. And my background is in IT. So for me, problem solving is like you sort of know where to go for answers. So I'm just like this. I just put everything together into one. So that's why I can answer the questions, because I have a photographic memory. I know what you're trying to ask me, and I don't try to overcomplicate it, because the last thing you need is overcomplication of how things work. The only thing I can't explain to you, because it is a little bit complex, is RS Wave. I can't teach it to you in a session or two or three or every session, because it's just like, it's been a lot of hard work. So obviously I want a community of people who will respect each other and not troll each other. and understand when they're wrong, understand when, that opens up the ability for people to share ideas, information, and help each other, right? And that's the sort of thing I want. That's my goal. Micro S says, why would it be struggling to go lower? I've never heard of an asset struggling to go lower. That's a unique thing to say. That's because wave five, so wave C is a 5-wave move, right? So there's a law in 5 waves, right? Wave one is the first wave. Wave two, let's just say we're talking about a 5-wave move down, because this is a C wave, right? So let me just zoom out here, give you a bit of a visual, right? Because the chart hasn't moved much. I haven't been showing you much here. So I might as well do this now, right? So to answer that question is simple, right? So you have a wave one. So the first rule of a 5-wave move is wave two can never go above the start of wave one, which clearly here it hasn't, okay? Now, wave three is always the longest wave, right? Wave five has to make the last low. But if you're looking at this in Elliott wave perspective, you're going to think, okay, so we had our A, B, C here, and this is 5, but that's wrong. That was not a 5. That was a B wave. So that's where RES wave comes into the equation, because RES wave is based on the correction. The correction is the most important part of everything in the markets, right? Because everything is a correction, because everything is part of a larger pattern in the greater scheme of things that you can't see because it's so big. So everything literally is a correction. So there's 2 patterns that occur in a market. There's a zigzag and a 5-wave move, right? Now that's oversimplifying it, because within wave 2, there's a combination of all those patterns that make up RES wave pattern. So in this case, we haven't seen a new low, because that wave 5 has to be the last low, even if you have an expanding B wave, which is not part of wave 3, it still has to go and make the last low above anything that's even corrective, even if it's part of wave 4, right? It still has to be the last low. So at the moment, what you can see here is that it's struggling to make that move, because there's so much strength in this market that it's literally struggling. But once C wave finally finishes, this thing's going to go boom, 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 boom. It's going to break the all-time high, and it's going to start wave D. Now, wave D could be pretty fast, pretty sharp, look like an impulsive move. That's what D waves usually do. At one point, it'll come back, possibly might go higher, retest, come back. But the point is, I'm not going to try and give you too much detail on that because it hasn't happened yet. I'm just trying to explain to you that we cannot move up until we see a complete 5-wave move occur. And so far, using the law of alternation, which means if wave 2 is the smallest, wave 4's has to be, longer in duration, we're seeing perfect alternation. This is the best example of alternation I can give you, right? Because in a normal 5-wave move, right, let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that looks pretty normal, right? There's a little bit of alternation, maybe none, right? So here we have this sort of thing happening, right? So wave 4 happens to be, right, producing a bigger move, but it has to make a new low, right? That's alternation. Usually when wave 2 is small and sharp, or small or whatever, wave 4 has to be extended. So it's called alternation, right? That's a basic Elliott wave thing, right? So there's certain things from Elliott wave that I do think are true, because I've seen them, I've observed them, and they are accurate. But they don't focus on the correction themselves. They just think, like with Elliott wave, right? Let me just clear this up for a sec. When it comes to Elliott wave, right? This is what Elliott wave thinks a 5-wave move does. So it's 1, A, B, C. So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, 5. So they think that every correction is just a 3-wave move, which is absolute ridiculous garbage. As you can see, I have proven it right here is not true at all, one bit. So please, any Elliotticians, buy the program and your head will explode emoji, right? Okay. Well, that's right, Felix. The whole reason why it's struggling to make a new low is because A, the pattern has to complete by law, but because of that weakness, that means that there's huge strength coming later. And that's the whole point as to why this is barely has the energy to create the 5th wave. Okay. It will do it. No doubt it will. But what you're going to see later is you better buy at the 20 cent level, 27 cent level, because you don't want to take your risk with what could potentially be a quick dip and a straight up move. Okay. That's right. So I took the time, wasted a lot of money, used Elliott wave, tried every indicator under the sun, and it all came back down to having to figure it out myself. Because it was either that, it was either going to be that or giving up, right? But because I kept throwing money at it and I try to figure it out, like I have this mentality where I can't quit. I cannot give up until I know what the hell is going on. So I actually went through a relationship breakdown during this period of time, right? Because I was so obsessed with figuring it out to the point where I've had so much dramas in my life and they have affected me mentally, which is why sometimes I get a little bit off topic, right? Even display a little bit of emotion towards trolls, which really they don't deserve my attention. But I got so obsessed with trying to figure it out until I actually figured it out and made a program, right? So my heart, every bit of my energy, my heart and soul went into this. And that's why I put so much effort. That's why I love answering questions. I love talking about it because this is literally what I live and breathe every day, even though my background is in IT. I've said it before. I taught myself computers from like 16 years old, 15, 16 years old. Me and my cousin used to just build computers. We used to go to swap meets and we used to buy parts and put them together. And I don't know, we just used to mess around with that stuff. And we got curious but we never knew what IT was going to be like in the future, right? I decided to make it my career. He decided to go and do some trades work, tradesman work. But I stuck with it. And then I started wondering, what can I do with this stuff? Because I have all this equipment, but I don't know what to do with it. It took me so long to get to where I am that to me now, it's just like this volcano inside of me. It ain't gonna stop. So to me, I'm gonna see this through to the end, and I've got the energy to just bring a massive amount of people on board, and even if I have to modify my content along the way to suit those that um don't understand it slightly or whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I made the website, right? reswave.com. I made that up. I actually created the website, right? I manage the website. I manage like everything. I'm an IT guy, right? Except I just got really interested in waves. That's me. That's who I am. Just a really curious guy. I have two beautiful little girls from the relationship that failed. So what do I care? Let's try and make some money and improve our lives. Yeah, isn't that what it's all about? Like, like who cares about the rest, right? Once you make the money, everything else comes. Why do you need to worry so much about the semantics and the bullshit, right? Let's just get serious. Let's get friendly. Let's create this community, shall we? I do see regulation coming, flashback. I do see regulation coming because I believe that they introduced okay, so who created Bitcoin, right? Who created Bitcoin? Was it Nakamoto, Satoshi, the guy that looks really frazzled in the picture of the guy that they supposedly? Come on, man. The CIA or NSA or some DARPA offshoot created Bitcoin because that's the appetizer, right? That's the appetizer. You know, when you go to a five-star restaurant, that's the appetizer. Let's get your palate wet. Try this fine wine, my friend. Right? Let's get people into this. Let's get them involved. Right? Then let's introduce a whole bunch of other ones because this is the future. Right? Now, it's the hare versus the tortoise. It's like a .com freaking era, right? So regulation is inevitable, right? Because this is not the wild, wild west, right? There is a reason behind everything they do. They plan everything so many years in advance that you have no idea how these people operate, right? Right? Why did they pull Edge of Wonder off YouTube? Why did they ban them, delete their whole channel, right? Because they were telling too much truth. Why did they get rid of Ellen Jones? You know, people like that. Like, there's a lot of things that they don't want you to know. So Bitcoin was just the appetizer to what's coming, right? So regulation is inevitable, right? Climate change is a narrative which will kill Bitcoin, which will also pump old coins, but it will also kill other coins in the process because they're going to be like collateral damage, right? Because as you know, in this world, we live in a world where speculation is rampant and money is suddenly going to start flowing in. But where's it going to flow? People are going to get smart, and at least the smart people will start pumping that money, especially institutions and the people who are going to find these coins the most beneficial for their activities. They're going to pump the ones that matter the most. The rest of them will become either stagnant or die, right? Regulations will either stamp them out or make them flat, right? So with XRP, what I think is happening is that they're basically sending a warning. It's like a warning sign, okay? But I don't believe that XRP is going to fall because of this. I think it's a warning sign. I reckon XRP will set the standard, and then every other coin will crumble compared to like XLM, XRP, and whatever other coin happens to be regulated, which I believe a Cardano is also regulated. Well, it's got measures in place that do meet regulatory standards, right? From what I read, and so you need to do your research on the regulation side because that's going to be a big deal. Okay. That's all I'll say for now because this is starting to go for a bit too long and we're going to have to cut it short soon. So let's see what we have in the comment section. Thank you, Invino. Appreciate that. I like to find my middle ground, my balance. That's why I love to bring this energy because I feel that this is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do. So I always feel great when I'm in my purpose. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Um, it's going to be huge, but you need to know the pattern. You need to know when to get in. You can just follow me. You don't need to buy anything, right? Just follow what I do because I'm so passionate that I will put it out there. But if you want to be part of the community, you will be directly involved with myself. We'll have, Zoom meetings. We'll do regular catch-ups like I currently do with my members and direct, you know, pretty fast responses. I give them top priority because they believe in me. E. Coli says it was created by MIT as an experiment. Doesn't surprise me, but MIT also has its roots, and so does a lot of other institutions. Well, that's interesting that Gensler says that because I watched a few of his uh what do they call them? His university lectures, right? I watched quite a few of them just to try and understand. And that was before I even found out that he was going to be on the SEC board. And I found the guy quite interesting because of the way that he explains things and he has an understanding and the logic that he uses behind his thinking. I'm probably going to go back again and rewatch some of that stuff, but um, yeah, the time is coming soon. 2022 sounds about right, but don't quote me on that. Flashback, there's always a feeling that some magical thing is going to happen, but we're dealing with reality here. Let's work with what we have. Um, for anything magical to happen in terms of Arius Wave, I need to see its pattern. I need to see its history before I can give you any kind of comment on it. So for now, I'm sticking to what I know. Um, I'm staying within my circle of competence. Okay, like Warren Buffett says, within my circle of competence. If I don't understand it, I stay away until I understand it, and then I'll talk about it if I manage to find it interesting enough to talk about it. Samuel Sands asks, is it possible to take profits at 40 cents? That look, I'm not wasting my time with that. Sorry. I'm in this till we get to the top. Okay. Because when you get to the top, trust me, you're talking about chump change. I'm not here for chump change. I'm here for the big bucks, guiding people, teaching people. If you want to learn RS Wave yourself, I suggest you purchase a program, 50% off till the end of June, rswave.com. You can learn how to do all that, but it's going to take you time. I don't think you'll have enough time to learn it to do what you're trying to do. Guessing is not really a good strategy. Hope is not a good strategy. Did you know that Michael Saylor happened to own the domain name hope.com? And then he happened to think that in his mind, it was a good idea to say that hope.com is about Bitcoin. In my opinion, hope is not a strategy. So Michael Saylor, I can see why you're basically buying at the top here. Man, this guy suffered big blows in the .com crash. I think he's about to have a deja vu moment. Yes, Felix, it's a 5 wave move down, and we haven't seen the last low yet. So once we see the final low, which is at 27 cents, that's the whole point of the whole 27 cents thing, then I'm buying it. That's it. I'm buying it and forgetting about it. Set and forget, and then track the waves along the way. If they make sense, continue to hold until we hit our target. But this is probably going to be the lowest point in the chart after this C wave completes. Okay. And I've already shown you the XLM BTC chart to prove that. I may show it again next time we do a live stream, but we're running out of time now. And I believe I have answered most questions as best as I can. Yeah. Yes, hope is not a strategy. Anyway, I hope you guys have found this informative enough. We haven't seen much price action to me. Let's just wait this out. I'll give you another update tomorrow because we don't know yet. We haven't confirmed 100% if it's D down here or D down here. We need to see what happens next. I will keep you updated, but as I always say, learn the waves, get involved. You become a priority of mine. Early people who purchase early, they are the biggest. I'm your biggest fan, and you will be my top priority. I'm not saying that people who buy later won't be, but to me, you guys are supporting me in my work, and you give me strength to proceed. And I don't have time for trolls, so thank you, Felix, for dealing with some of those trolls there because they were getting a little bit ridiculous. I'm like, I'm wasting my energy on trolls. I need to be preparing more things to say to my people who really enjoy this stuff. So thanks again. I appreciate you guys. I can't wait to talk to you again. And good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending where you are. See you later.